Welcome back to the Menowave Lounge, where we keep the conversation hot, even as the weather starts to cool down. We were out for a couple of weeks, but after our short break, we're now diving into something we can all feel: the change in the air as summer fades to fall. But it's not just the seasons that are shifting. Many of us are going through our own personal transitions. Maybe you're stepping into a new phase of life, finding yourself at a crossroads, or just feeling that pull to reflect and reset. Today, we're talking about how the changing seasons can mirror the changes in our own lives and how to embrace both with open arms. Stay with us as we explore what's next, both outside and within, in the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations. I am Coach Robin Duke, and this is Coach Marti Daly.
Hey there.
Hi, Marti.
Hi.
So today we're going to be talking about menopause, seasons changing, and how we can change with the seasons when we are in our menopause roller coaster days. So, Marti, how are you doing today?
Oh, I think this is such a wonderful topic to talk about at this time. For those of you who have been following, regular listeners, we appreciate you. You may have noticed that we've taken a couple of weeks off, and part of that is because I've had my own change of seasons and so we're going to be talking about, some advice and some thoughts on the literal changing of the seasons as we transition from summer into fall and on into winter, and how that can impact us in menopause, but also metaphoric seasons changing in life. There are so many of us are going through experiencing different changes. Some of us are having changes of family, our children maybe leaving the nest and the last one's going off and getting on their own. Some of us are leaving the workforce, and some of us, like me, found ourselves unexpectedly having to re-enter the traditional corporate workforce, something that took us completely by, but I'm doing it. And I'll share a little bit about what my journey has been and some things that have come up for me, definitely, as far as dealing with this changing of seasons. But first, Robin, you had some really great thoughts. We were just chatting earlier about what's going on with us and what can help us as we go transitioning from summer to fall.
Yes, and it is a big transition. This is September. I have loved the September months with the nice warm weather, but now I'm really starting to feel like it's getting darker earlier and the sun is not coming up as soon. And so those changes, definitely my body is starting to feel it. This whole weekend I was just really low energy. Like all I wanted to do was just, rest and sleep. And I gave myself permission to do that. But I really noticed that the changing of the seasons affects us on so many different levels, not only the emotional and physical, but the spiritual level. And so today we're going to talk a little bit about what we can do to help ourselves transition into the fall winter months, when we don't have so much sun, when we're not getting enough exercise, when we're feeling like, oh no, I just don't even want to do that, it's dark outside. And the one thing that I want to start with is giving ourselves love and grace through this time, because we are not that 20, 30 youngish age that we were, where we could just jump out of bed and hit the floor running. No, we are a lady of a vintage age, and we love where we are at today. But we want to give ourselves a lot of love and grace. So I just want to say that right now, don't be too hard on yourself. Don't let that inner critic start beating you up because you're not, getting everything on your to-do list done. Give yourself some love and grace.
Can I just jump in and say that really speaks to me, Robin, especially with what I've been going through, is giving myself some grace, because my husband lost his job earlier this year, and unfortunately, he has not been able to find full-time employment at the level that he was at. We've been fortunate for a very long time that I could do what I love to do, which is the hypnosis, which is the coaching, which is this podcast and supporting women in menopause. And I could do that, but we weren't relying on it to support our family. And that changed overnight. And I'm still doing this. And really, nothing is changing on this end because I still seeing clients and doing my events. But just the whole mindset of I got out of the 8 to 5 grind when my children were little and getting back into it at this age. I had so much doubt about my ability. Could I even think? Could I even relearn? I had to get some new certifications and a license to do the work that I'm doing. Could the brain still retain? I'm 51 years old. It's been a long time since I've had to study the way that I did and to give myself grace. I mean, some stuff was overwhelming. I remember my first day at work. We're doing all this stuff on the computer and logging into all these different sites. And I'm on a Windows at work. I've been on a Mac for 15 years. And I'm telling the trainer, I said, I promise I'm computer literate. Believe me, I'm computer literate. It's stuff like that. And she was totally cool that everybody was like, oh, yeah, I mean, totally makes sense. But my point is, like you said, Robin, I had to give myself grace of, you know what, this is a big thing that I am doing. And to even get as far as I did, I couldn't have gotten hired without getting this license. And I did it. The exam was fine. All of that was fine. But to give myself grace going in because I was very intimidated. I hear stories of women, and I've experienced it too, brain fog, and some stuff gets confusing. And I was actually laughing because I was so proud. I said this at work. I said, you know, I was proud of myself because I was able to figure out how to do this really complicated thing, but I also forgot what Outlook was. For just a half a second. I was like, okay, I remember Outlook. Okay, yeah. But it's stuff like that. But like you said, give yourself grace.
Yes.
Been
Yes.
very, very important over these last
Yes.
few weeks.
Well, okay. And then secondly, I will say that the next most important thing is to give yourself a lot of rest. Okay, because body's changing. It's starting to say, okay, it's not time to get up yet, but yet the clock says it is. Going to bed a little bit early. This is where we start putting circadian rhythm. We're adjusting that rhythm. And many times, and I'm just saying this in a general way, not this doesn't apply to everybody, but my rhythm, and I'll just use me as an example, is that I don't like to wake up when it's dark out, and I get really sleepy when it's dark out. It's like that's telling my body that it's time to go to sleep. And this is very natural in the wintertime because our natural inclination is to go to sleep early and sleep longer because it's cold out. It's and this is a natural thing for us to want to do. So just keep that in mind if you have a schedule that gets you up earlier than the sun's coming up. Give yourself some time to get better rest, go to bed a little bit earlier. Also, too, this is a great time to hydrate a little bit more. Really keep that in mind that the hydration is really, really important. Drink your water, have a cup of tea before calming tea, like a chamomile before you go to bed. Also, as I'm talking about sleep, and Marty and I were just talking about this a little bit earlier, but there are some really great light therapy machines out there that will naturally bring your light up, even if it's dark out, and also bring some nice soothing music, something that has the right vibrational. And that helps you to wake up and that helps your system to slowly wake up so that you're not jumping out of bed and hitting that fight or flight kind of response in our body, which doesn't do us any good at all. And it's not a good way to start the day. So if you can give yourself a little bit more grace on waking up and even using, some of the VH lights to wake up with, music to wake up with, taking a shower in the morning, getting yourself some breakfast, then those are going to be things that are going to help set your day. And it's also going to give you the energy to move through your day in a more even keel way. Also, the one thing that I also wanted to say is this is a great time to bump up on your supplements. I'm a big believer in supplements, and I love the idea of bumping up on my vitamin C. Vitamin D3 is so big in the wintertime because we're not getting enough sun. So you want to bump up to your vitamin D, double it. Magnesium is another mineral that we don't get enough of, and it helps us with so many levels. It helps us with our sleep, with our bones, with our digestive system. It's just an amazing, and most women do not get enough magnesium. So even if you just start with those three and maybe you have more, just reevaluate where you are in your supplements and what you can add to it because it certainly will help I take vitamin C in the first thing in the morning after I eat and then take it in the afternoon. And that really helps to even me out as far as my energy level.
I think those are all wonderful. And I feel like just reminding ourselves, it's a really good reminder to get back into that routine, especially if we've fallen out of it. Like you said, with the supplements, I know I have tons of supplements and I forget about them or I just don't take them. And for me, getting into a very structured routine. Okay, I take my supplements when I get up and I take some various times throughout the day. I like what you said about rest. Something that I discovered with rest is it's important to me to rest myself at work, and we have scheduled break times. I sit back, and I've talked about this in previous podcasts, but I am a big fan of closing my eyes, putting in some spa music or solfeggio frequencies or healing bowls, just any of that kind of um, relaxing, calming music, kicking back, closing my eyes. I have a coworker, she goes out to her car to do this. Thankfully, we have a place where we can actually go. We actually have a area that's set aside for that when you're on break to just kind of relax. I close my eyes, even, and I set the alarm on my phone for 10-15 minutes, and it makes all the difference in the world because at the end of the day, I'm dragging. I'm tired. The lights are bright, sitting under the fluorescent lighting for 8 hours a day, looking at a computer screen. It's been a long time since I've done that, but I've found that when I'm able to check out like that, I talk about it going to an emotional reset or an emotional neutral, but also just completely just shutting the brain down of all thought for 10-15 minutes is just the pick me up that I need. And it has been really, really helpful. That's not something I would have done or even known to do 10, 20 years ago, or thought, oh, my break, I'll go scroll on my phone. We didn't have this back then. I've also taken walks. I'm recovering from from a pretty severe injury as well, on top of all of that. So my walks have been slowing down, but I've been getting back out and just getting that exercise, getting outside, getting into the
Yeah.
sunlight. It's been
Yeah,
very, very helpful.
that's the one thing when we were talking about energy pick me ups, you can either, power down, like Marty said, or you can ramp up.
Mhm.
So getting yourself outside just for even 10, 15, 20 minutes as much as you can, because once again, just getting out into that fresh air, that movement, walking or running or going to the gym, taking a yoga class or a Zumba class or whatever it is, get that exercise in whatever level that you are at. I mean, if you ride bikes, go ride a bike for 20 minutes. And if you can do it once a day or even twice a day, that's even better. But that movement is going to help your body to adjust to these seasonal changes because you're keeping things in a routine, and that's really good for the body and the mind to say, okay, even though we're going into hibernation winter, we still have these things that are our daily routines. The one thing I also wanted just to touch on is our diet at this point, because we're once again our bodies is going into that winter, and so we want to eat a little bit heavier. We want more substance, potatoes, roots, heavier vegetables. I like making soups. Maybe we're taking in a little bit more protein. And then there's a reason why, is because our body is preparing for the winter time. So having said that, be aware of your diet and the diet changes. I like to eat with the seasons. So in the fall, I like to use a lot of the root plant, potatoes, yams, things like that. And then because that's what's fresh in the season of the times, right? Some of the winter fruits that we see, avocados,
Apples. There's a lot of apples.
apples,
Yeah.
a lot of apples, yeah, right. Bananas, I mean, things like that. Incorporate those into your diet. And once again, keep it balanced. Portion sizes are really important, and don't eat too late at night. We may feel like we want to because it's dark, but keeping that time routine is really important. So if you always have eaten between 5 and 6, keep that constant, even though it's dark outside and our bodies are going, I feel like this is throwing my schedule off, my eating off, everything off. So try and stay as structured in your schedule as you can. These are things that help with the transition to get you through the winter time.
You know what I'm hearing a lot of in this conversation, Robin, is giving ourselves permission to really take care of ourselves and love on ourselves and give ourselves that like gentle, hold ourselves gently, like almost like babying ourselves, and not like it's baby, but you know what I'm saying
Mhm.
is, I mean, these things, they seem so simple, but how many times do we forget that we deserve that and that we can allow ourselves to do that? I mean, even those things like staying on a schedule and allowing ourselves to rest and asking for help
Mhm.
and not trying to pile on everything and take on everything and trying to be perfect. I mean, all of these things, this is such a good reminder as we are power going down into, for those of us in the, I think most of us listening to this are all in the Northern Hemisphere, going into the colder times, the winter times and the slowing down times, is giving ourselves that gentle hand, that gentle touch to allow ourselves to do that. And I have had to see that about myself and allow myself to do that, and remembering who I am. Like, I go back to it. I know I've said this before. I'm one of the oldest people on my team, but I'm not the only one. And there's a couple of other ladies that are around my age, and they're in a similar position I am. And they're like, "Oh, this is how, worried about this, and can we do this?" And I'm like, "We've done hard things before. This seems hard right now because it's new to us, but we've done this before. We've probably done harder things if you really rank them." But there's that fear of going into the unknown. And I think, so many things are changing with us in our bodies already. We can feel very off center and insecure about that. And then to go into a structured environment where, like, okay, I used to be able to do this and not think about it. I think my priorities are a little bit different. My perspective is way
Yeah.
different going into this environment in my 50s than it would have been than it was in my 20s and 30s and would have been in my 40s. Like, the whole thing is giving myself extra grace, is to really remember who I am. They wouldn't have hired me, they wouldn't have brought me in if they didn't believe that I could do it. So I fooled
Mhm.
them, didn't I? But no, I can. I can do that. I remember going into this, we're worried about, like, stuff like going to the bathroom and, like, will I be able to go whenever I want? Of course I can. What happens when I have an emergency? What do I deal with? As things are, as we know, are unpredictable.
Mhm.
Totally had a plan for that. Totally fine. A lot of the things that I was worried about, I was worried about judgment from my coworkers of, like, oh, who's the old lady on the team? Or, oh, is she not going to be able to get it? None of those fears came true. It's like I'm having a ball. And I think that a lot of that is that I had to let those fears go. I had to, like, coming back around to really love on myself and remind myself where I come from, who I am, what my strengths are, being aware of maybe what some struggles might be with when I get overwhelmed. Well, the emotions come up. I had, like, emotional moment, like the first week we were talking, we were sharing. So it was perfectly okay. It wasn't like an embarrassing thing. We're all going around the room, kind of touchy-feely, get to know one another and sharing, and some tears came up and I was like, "Oh my God." I'm thinking, these are the emotional things that I can't control. And it's like, no, you know what? I'm owning it. It's like,
Yeah.
I'm
Well, and
emotional. It's
yeah,
fine.
that's a good thing to remember. Also, too, going into the winter months, is that there's a little bit of anxiety and
Mhm.
depression that can go
Yeah.
along with these darker days. I I also want to just point out that these fears that we self-talk
Mhm.
to each other with is something to be aware of. How are we speaking to ourselves? Are we beating ourselves up? Are we saying we're not good enough? Oh, we can't do this, or I'm too tired, or I wasn't invited to that thing, or I don't look good in that dress, or I'm eating too much, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this. Okay, those are this negative self-critic that's swirling around in your head. And the one thing that I always encourage my ladies is to recognize that. Okay? Recognize that that's a dialogue in your head that you can change. You don't have to buy into that old belief system, but you have to recognize when it pops up, and then have a plan to, reverse that conversation, change that conversation, give yourself some love and grace and say, well, okay, maybe today I do feel a little emotional, but that doesn't mean that this is going to, ruin my life or my day. And change the vibration. Get up, do something, have a positive moment that you can turn that conversation around in your head. That really helps. And these are just tips that we are giving you because we know that if they happen to us, they're happening to other people because we're not alone in this. This is not rocket science, okay? We all go through these things. This is a lot, some of it is human nature, some of it is the traumas that we've had before, some of this old fears. Have that one person that you can call at the end of the day, maybe your spouse, your sister, a friend, and just say, golly, you got 10 minutes? I just need to download. That's another way of working this process out of what you're going through during these changes, these seasonal changes. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the upcoming holidays. And some of us are really big event planners, and some of us host everything at our house. Some of us just like to go and just be a part of holiday events. So I'm going to say just know where you're at with the holidays. Don't let it stress you out. If you're the one that is doing the event, ask for help, right? Have people either bring things or come early and help you set up, but don't put that stress on that you have to do everything. You're not, be superwoman. I went through that a lot. I was the one that everybody came to my house. I was responsible for all the decorating, and I also was the one responsible for cleaning up everything. So finally, I had to give all that up, and I passed that on to my daughters. And I said, guess what? It's up to you guys now to, host the family events. And so far, they've been doing a great job. And it has taken that stress out, and it's also has created a family tradition. Now I'm passing the torch on to my daughters. So holidays don't have to be stressful, but just remember, you don't have to do everything. You don't have to be superwoman. All you have to do is just go enjoy, relax. If you're getting tired, you don't have to stay till midnight. Leave when you're ready to leave. Listen to your body, listen to what it's saying, and give yourself permission to be okay. If you don't make it, it's okay. People still love you, your family still loves you. You don't have to, impress anybody. All you have to do is just take care of yourself during the holidays.
You're absolutely right on that. And it's such a powerful thing to remember. That's one that I am working on as well. And as definitely as I'm going into the holidays, again, I'm going to be busy. I'm going to have to rely on, and I think it's a gift too. It's a gift to myself, but also to the people around me to say, hey, I trust you. And I know you're going to do a bang up job decorating or cooking that meal. I mean, I got a little taste of that this weekend. We had found out Thursday night we were going to have an unexpected house guest to spend Friday night. Well, I'm at work till late and my house isn't ready. It's not clean. To where are we going to put her? How are we going to entertain her? And I was like, you know what? I'm going to trust my family. I'm going to trust my husband and my brother to coordinate. And it was beautiful. We had a lovely time and a lovely visit. And I wasn't stressed because I'm like, you know what? I can't take this on right now. And so I lovingly spread that out and everybody came through and it was a lovely time. So I actually, based on what you said, Robin, I'm going to be doing more of that. My family is old enough and it is time for them to kind of pick that up. And for me and maybe other women, there's that whole thing of like, well, nobody does it as good as I do, or this is the way I do it. And what a beautiful gift to be able to let that go. And you know what? 5 years from now, I might be able to do the biggest bang up party that anybody has ever seen, but that's not necessarily going to be this year. And it doesn't have to be. And I like to see the joy. Like my daughter she's starting to learn how to cook and she makes these awesome little desserts. Let her do it. Give her that gift and it gives me the gift back. What a wonderful conversation, Robin. Uh,
Yes.
I'm glad we got to do this. And I want to say thank you for being there for me during this time because I take on a lot too. And I've had to ask for help as well and Robin has been such a rock for me through this podcast. And gosh, we talk probably once or twice a week. I call her on my breaks and to plan and see what we're doing. So yeah, just lean on the people around you. Don't be afraid to ask for help and believe in yourself and give yourself grace, and as well as all these wonderful practical tips that really do make a lot of difference. Just remember them. And I'm so glad we do.
Yes, and once again, we're going to be diving deeper into a lot of these different subjects as the winter months come on, and we'll have some wonderful experts that are going to be coming on to the podcast. So subscribe, share this with your friends and family, and just this is like your little free time to be able just to soak in with like-minded women. I also want to say we have the Menopause support group on Facebook. Please tune into that. There's a lot of like-minded women that are going through the exact same things that you are, and a lot of questions that can be answered. And we have a lot of providers, expert providers that are on the Facebook page and are happy to answer any questions and are hosting different events. We also have the Menopalooza retreat coming up
That's
November
right.
4th through the 7th. And that is going to be an amazing retreat in Sedona. The links will be in the bottom. So if you want to meet some like-minded women and hear some amazing speakers and just really know that you're not alone and get a lot of love and attention, that is a place to go. And it's November. It's so beautiful down there. You get all that, great vitamin D sunshine down there, and you get to meet Gwen and Tina and all the different wonderful providers that are going to be there. So once again, thank you, Marti, for having this conversation. And I hope everybody takes away at least one or two things and gives it a try over the next couple of weeks.
Yeah. And if there's anything you want us to talk about, any topics that are things that are top of mind that you would like us to go deeper in with our providers, feel free to drop it in the comments wherever you find this podcast, whether it be on Facebook or YouTube or Spotify. Shoot us a question, reach out to us, message us through our Facebook page. We'd love to hear from you. But thanks so much, Robin, for everything you do, and we will see you next time.
Thanks, Marti. And
Thank
this
you.
has been the Menowave Lounge, hot flashes and cool conversations.
Thank you for joining us in the Menowave Lounge. If you'd like to connect with Marti, Robin, our guests, or any of our expert Menowave care providers for personalized advice and support, head on over to our website at menowave.org and fill out an assessment that will match you with a provider who knows just how to help. Remember, you don't have to face menopause alone. Our team is here to provide the guidance and care you deserve. So, take that step towards reclaiming your well-being and connect with a Menowave care provider today. Thank you again for tuning in, and we'll catch you on the next episode of the Menowave Lounge, Hot Flashes and Cool Conversations.